It's a great day. My name is Shay Brown, the happy entrepreneur, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the number one business development, yes, and revenue focused, yes, late night show in the country where we're on a mission. And our mission really is to empower, our mission is to inspire. At the end of the day, we want to provide you, the hardworking entrepreneur, with all of those resources that are necessary to execute that big vision you have for the people you were called to serve. And on this particular episode, we have the one and only Traci Hill. Yes, she's in the building right now, and she'll be discussing really a woman up. So what's going on, Traci? How are you?
I'm great. I'm so excited to be on here, Shay. I watch your show. I'm a native Washingtonian, so you know I'm supporting, right? And you've given great advice on your own, and then you've got these great entrepreneurs on your show. I mean, it's awesome. So I'm excited to be here.
Well, thank you so much. It's always great to talk to another native Washingtonian. I know the rest of y'all can't relate to that, but we're in Washington, D.C., a place that pays more taxes than 8 states, yet we don't have any representation. We can't vote. It's just here. But we're having a good time here in D.C., by the way. Okay. That's a topic for another time. The audience is looking below, and they're seeing the topic of Woman Up. Amplify your voice so that you can move up. I think it strengthens your credibility. Take a moment and define a woman up. First, what is it? Number two, what are some of the challenges that are facing women today? I know it's a loaded question. But some of the challenges that are facing women today that A Woman Up addresses.
Cool. So A Woman Up is a professional development company, and we cater to amplifying women's voices and helping them be seen and heard more effectively in the workplace, whether it's their business or if they're a W-2 employee. And it really became super important to me to do this because my background is I started and restarted staffing companies. So I ran staffing and sales teams across the country, right? I go start one and, be there for a year or two, blah, blah, blah. So I saw some of the issues that we dealt with as women. And also as a woman in a very male dominated industry, I saw a lot of it. I've dealt with it, but it wasn't until I stopped being in management and went into an individual contributor role and worked inside of companies, like just big companies, and talked to women, and both internally and ones who were coming into the company, and saw just such a disparity and also just a lack of motivation to even continue to move up or do things where they could have been so awesome. They just kind of almost gave up. And as an optimist, it just drove me crazy, right? So A Woman Up, basically we do professional development courses inside and for organizations to help women understand how to assess their value. A lot of women don't understand how to assess their value and understand how to present what they offer. We have to remember we're just a service. So you can't think about, take it personally, right? You have to say, what do I offer? What problem do I solve? And that's what women have to start addressing, right? And the other thing that the problem that I was dealing with and still deal with, women taking offers. The first offer they get, a lot of times they take it. So it may be a good offer, but it when you don't make $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 more a year, okay, that is lifetime money. That's money that's not going into a portion of your 401k, a portion of your Roth, or whatever it is. So be it putting a bid in for a contract as an entrepreneur, be it negotiating for a W-2 role, too often we just take what's on the table. Now, sometimes that's the case, right? That's is necessary because there's a fixed cost or whatever. But that's really it's not necessary all the time. I mean, that's really a big thing. Then the other thing is, when it comes to entrepreneurs, women's lack of access to, funding. That's a big deal. So the funding issue for women is huge. We just don't get the money from venture capitalists, from banks, or whoever that male white companies get. So it's all about money.
I love it. So can we talk to the woman that's inside of corporate America first? And then we'll
Mm,
go head over to the entrepreneur. And you
mm,
mentioned that they have to know their value. They have to be able to take an assessment. And if we slow down for just a moment and they say, well, Shay, is it possible she's here, Traci Hill, the one and only is here, that she can give us like step one, do this, or step two, do this, or step three, do this, because I'm in that position right now and I want to make sure I'm doing an assessment. And I really don't know what her view of the world is. Like, what's her perspective on an assessment? So can you
right.
slow down for a moment? And you that's in corporate America, or maybe you work in a government agency, maybe work for nonprofit, I think it might all work the same. I mean, Traci will
Mm-hmm.
be able to share it with you.
Yeah, it
Here
does.
are some things you can look for. So when you're having conversation with your manager or leader, and maybe Traci will talk about this, you can bring these things up, right? And say,
Yep.
I've done this and this. So it's a two-part question. Number one,
Mm-hmm.
what type of things should they be assessing so they know what they are? And then two, because you get into amplifying the voice, I hope it's not too much for you. What's one example they can do to present back to their manager and say, look, this is some things I've done to help them communicate it. I'll say that.
Right. And that's the thing about amplifying your voice. You can't, it's not a personal conversation. It's a business conversation. And so many times, Black women, especially, even Latina women, because when I was helping close, so my job when I was an individual contributor, my expertise was closing people to get them to take a job at Meta or Capital One or Accenture or whatever, right? So they bought me in. They realized that was my skill set as a closer because I'm a salesperson, and I would close people and make sure that they got the talent they wanted in the door, right? So in doing that, you know, I would, I would learn a lot about the difference between what men would do and what what women would do. And because when I was in staffing, usually it was whatever it was. Like I told them, I would get them the best I could, and I would let them know that was the best I could get them. There was no negotiation all the time. But in corporate America, in the way I was dealing with it, because I was a W-2 employee or I was a consultant or contractor, I was sitting inside seeing the decisions that people were making and how they were making these decisions. And we don't know how people are indoctrinated. So there, I mean, there was all kinds of things that I would say that my male counterpart would say, and it was accepted or it was received. I would say it, and before him, and it would be a no. We're not doing that. So I experienced it all the time. Like just because I was a woman, they just weren't listening to me. So assessing your worth, depending on the job that you have or you're interested in, you want to look at the job description and say, what have I done when it comes to line two, bullet, whatever. But then you want to quantify it. What did I do? How much money did I save, make, right? What projects came in on time? What projects came on under budget? What did I do to make this company or this project or this team or this division do better and be better? It's all about the service and the problems that you solve, right? It can't, I talk to so many women and they're, well, I don't know why I'm not getting a promotion. It's like, well, what are you telling them? What you talking about? You got to talk about the things you do. So understanding how to assess your wealth, your worth, and then when you articulate it as if you are talk like you're in third person. It's not you, it's the service. And that helps depersonalize it. I think that's a word. And then that way you're not thinking so much about it, right? So that to me, I tell people, don't think about you, think about the service you provide. And that helps people amplify their voice and their worth better. So those are the things that I would say do, And if you're switching roles and you want to change industries, you want to do the same thing. What have I done in a role that I'm interested in? And then build a case for yourself there, right? Because people usually want people who have some level of experience. And you may have been an admin, but you may have done HR stuff, right? You may have onboarded people. You may have helped with training. You may have done some payroll. You may have done whatever. What did you do in your current role or your past role that would be helpful to somebody who wants somebody who's an HR generalist or whatever, right? So it's really about getting down on what you've done and how was it beneficial to the organization.
And then if we switch to the other side, because I think that was well said, and we talk about the entrepreneur,
Mm-hmm.
a woman up, and this entrepreneur is thinking, wow, she's right on point, which is I need to amplify my voice because sometimes I don't get paid what I'm worth.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe she's trying to partner with someone else or collaborate with someone else. So she has to be able to strengthen her value, if I can say it like that. I think that's what you call it. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
strengthen her
Yeah.
her value
Yeah.
and credibility. So what advice would you recommend to women entrepreneurs who are ready to
Mm-hmm.
go after bigger contracts, whether it's the government, private sector, ready to partner and collaborate with other folks, but for whatever reason haven't stepped up the way they feel, and it could be because they haven't used their voice, or
Mm-hmm.
two, they haven't really strengthened their credibility. And this is what a woman up is about. What would you say to that person?
Well, in both cases, sometimes you have to. When I coach people, I say, "What is it that you want to do?" And then I say, "What have you done so far to make that happen?" And then I say, let's go back and find out why those things haven't worked. So we go back a step. I don't meet them at what do you want and let's go get it. There's something that's holding you back, right? So what is that? It's probably confidence. It's probably, dang, I've been doing stuff. I ain't making no money. I need some food. I need some shoes. I need, my kids are hungry or whatever it is. And you're just giving up, right? It could be that you don't understand how to market your services right. It could be all kinds of things. So let's talk about that first, where we are have an opportunity for growth, right, and or to overcome a challenge, and then we move into the same exact thing. What are you doing? What When you got into this business, was it something that you did at work? Were you a contracts person at work and now you're doing contracts as an entrepreneur? Well, look at all the stuff that you did before, how much money you saved, whatever it was. And that's what your past performance is. That's what you have to be able to convey, because everything you did before is your past performance. And you have to quantify it. Nobody gives a cuckoo what you did if they don't understand how it saved or made somebody some money or help them gain more time, save time. People want to know, how is this going to solve a problem of time, money? I mean, how are you going to help me? So you have to be able to answer those questions. And a lot of times, what we don't do is shut up. We're talking, oh, I do that, la, 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 talking all this stuff. Ask a question, an open-ended question. What are the difficult things, or what are the things that are happening right now in your for payroll? Let's just say that you want to mitigate. And it could be the fact that the software is all crappy, or people aren't putting their time in on time, whatever it is, right? And then you say, okay, and then you answer that instead of saying, here's all the stuff I do, and then 90% of it is not even what they need. You have to find out what their need is first, and then help them understand how you're going to fix that, and zero in on that first. Do that well, solve that problem, and then you'll get to know them, and then you can stretch your tentacles out into other areas that are applicable to your business. So we just can't. We have to be very intentional, and we can't be
Yeah.
scared. I mean, a lot of times it's just fear, you know.
And where does this confidence that you have come from? By the way, is it something that you always had growing up? Is it something that you inherited? Is it something that you had to go learn and acquire? Because you're someone that's a go getter, and you're making it seem so easy, and it can be easy when you have the right skills, the right techniques, the right training, the right expertise. And so the question is, when did you develop this high self esteem, this high self confidence that you have today?
I've always been confident in business. I really wasn't the kind of girl who was interested in having boyfriends and getting married and having kids, even though I did do all that. They weren't my concern, men and all that stuff. I just wanted to make money, drive fast cars, travel, whatever. I think I was a man in my last life, right? So I really was good at what I did, but my father was my mentor. My father was one of the first two black men to take a company public, other than Bob Johnson. So I watched him do certain things, and I walked halls with him and saw just what he did. We actually kind of did the same thing. I ended up getting into a similar industry or similar business as he. So I think my dad was huge. And then also my mother, my parents were divorced. My mother suffered. And I really, at one point, did not, I hate to say it, respect my mother, because I felt like she wasn't trying, right? that she was failing at life. But as I became older and became a mother and went through a really, really, really bad divorce to the point where my boy's dad got arrested by the federale from our house. Okay. I had no idea that he was on the lam. Okay. So once I experienced my, my issues and all the things that were going on in my life, that's when I was like, oh, wait a minute. Um, this shiggity ain't easy, right? This is hard. And so I gained respect for my mother, right? And then I had to learn how to find my voice because of the things that were happening once I partnered with somebody who was not just wasn't acting as a partner. He was acting opposite of a partner. So that was really when I really found my voice. And I think that because I couldn't just leave because I had two kids with this dude, right? So I had to, try to figure out something. I mean, we ended up getting a divorce, but I couldn't just bounce and not have anything else to do with him. I had to hang out, because that's the boy's dad, and I didn't want them to hate their father, right? So, two black boys not liking their father is not a good thing. So I had to, try to have them maintain our relationship. So that's where I kind of got my voice because when he set me up or whatever, not set me up, but just did what he did to our family. And we had no assets. Everything was gone. 3 houses, everything. He leveraged everything. It emptied out the bank account, everything, right? So when I was dealing with that, I realized that just because they're your husband doesn't mean they're your partner. And because he wasn't actually telling me what was going on. If he would have told me the problems he was having, we could have solved them together. But instead, he took it upon himself to do some crafty crap, right? And so I really started gaining a voice then. I really did because it wasn't just about me and being able to say deuces to him. It was about my kids, and so that really, really kind of probably really helped me a lot in gaining a voice.
Yeah, said so well, by the way. So thanks a lot for sharing. When one of the questions I love to ask is, what's one of the best pieces of advice you've ever been given? And I like to frame the conversation, if I can, around what's one of the mentors, maybe the advice came from a mentor that you've had on this journey of life. And you had so many, whether you're somebody you read in the book or watched on the YouTube video, that you've held on to that piece of advice, served you well, and now you want to pay it forward. And for those folks that are out there listening, I always say this is a part of the show where you get to really lean all the way in because you get to take something that from a person you may never met, may never know. You get the benefit from the rest of your life, and I think that's pretty cool. So go ahead and answer the question. What's one of the best pieces of advice you've ever been given?
Gosh, Shay, I don't know. I think that's hard because I've gotten a lot of, help and encouragement since 2013, 2012, when all this stuff happened with the divorce. So, you know what I think? I don't know if it was advice as much as it was a consensus of people in my life when I was feeling very low, telling me that I should not kick myself because the boy's dad did what they did. I was supposed to trust my husband. It wasn't my fault. Now, this is advice that I have to give people that I've learned is to vet everybody. Believe or, get the information, but verify, boo, because a lot of the stuff was online about him. You know what I'm saying? Criminal records are public information, okay? And boyfriend had a sheet, okay? And although it was white collar crime, it was still crime, and he did it, to us. So my whole thing is, even though it's just, and we have to start all over again. And this is what I tell, oh my gosh, especially college kids. Just because you're in college doesn't mean they're collegiate, your friends or whoever you meet. Everybody is not somebody you want to hang out with. You really have to vet all the relationships that you're in. One bad relationship can ruin your entire life or put you on a trajectory that'll be hard as crap to get out of. And that is why now my circle is smaller, right? My kids are very discerning about who they hang out with. They're, and my circle has shrunk because of that experience, because I was never that close to anybody, you know. So having do that. Now I think you should vet everybody. I don't care who they are. Vet them, you know.
Well said. And what's the backstory on A Woman Up? Everybody's probably looking and saying, wow, Shay, what was the moment she decided to name it A Woman Up? You could have named it a lot of different things, but A
Yeah,
Woman Up is near and dear to your heart. It's what you talk about. It's your mission.
yeah.
It's your passion. You can hear it as you're speaking. So take us a
Mhm.
moment and give us the backstory on A Woman Up.
Well, I started Awomanup a long time ago. I got the name and all that kind of stuff. So my company used to be Traci Hill Solutions. Actually, my EIN number is Traci Hill Solutions. So now we're doing business as Awomanup. So Awomanup really came from and it just seeing how there was so much that we had to go up against as women, especially Black women. It's like, dang, you know, all the studies, all the surveys, all the polls, all the statistics say that when you have a diverse group of people, that you make more money. Your company will make more money. And it's like some people want to, just cut the nose off to spite the face because they don't want to diversify their environment. And it drives me crazy. It's like diversity makes you money. And instead of personalizing it or whatever, people have to understand that. So I am super passionate about women understanding their value, understanding how to assess it and how to communicate it, because it's huge. I'm telling, any stat, I can pull some stuff up where people don't understand how much money women make you. A diverse group of people makes a company. And so I really want to make sure that, and also let me just say this: you can't let and wait for somebody who is a diversity champion in the company, director of diversity, or whatever it is, to help you with your job. Nobody is responsible for you. So if you want to be that diverse voice in the room, you better figure out how to make the noise or say what you need to say to get in that room and then to stay in that room. Nobody has to do anything for you. So if you want to be in that room, if you want to stay in that room, if you want to get a piece of that business or get that promotion or get that raise, you need to figure out how to make that happen. It's like no matter who's in office, Republican, Democrat, this person, that person, you have to figure out how to navigate regardless of who's in office. Well, same thing. Wherever you are, you need to figure out how to navigate and make that money and get what you need to get, whatever your goals are, because it's nobody's responsibility to help you do anything.
I love it, and that's a good I should say, transition over to one of our key segments we love to talk about, which is today is my January 1st. Now, for those folks that tune in
Yes.
every night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you know what we're about to do. I know you wait for this moment. I wait for this moment. You get to say those magic words that today is my January 1st. And for all the new folks, we love to welcome you aboard. If it's your first time, we love to welcome you aboard. Today is my January 1st represents one of our personal mantras. It's a do-over. It's a fresh start. It means that our past, no matter what it's been, it doesn't necessarily equal the future. And so my question over to the one and only Traci Hill is, when you hear those words, today is my January 1st, number one, what do you hear? And number two, what's another one of the moments you've had in your career or in your life where you had to bounce back from something?
Bounce back, boo. That's my thing. um, sheesh. I'm not no little. I'm not that young, so I've had a lot of situations. You know what I'm saying? I've been, in a male-dominated company where was sexual harassment. There was sexism. There was racism. There was all kinds of stuff, and I dealt with it and was one of the number one performers and was the first African American female division director in that company. So I just feel like no matter how smart you are or not, or whatever is going on with you, if you don't have grit, you gotta be able to grit, grind, and get in there and fight. You know what I'm saying? If you like, look, and I wanted to quit that job, but I was like, oh, I'm not gonna let them let me quit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna go get me some more money somewhere else because I got this on my resume. So that was because I wasn't getting paid that much money at the time. So I went from I really literally tripled my salary from doing that job and taking on all that crap. But the thing is, you really, really have to, um, I don't know, carpe diem. I don't know. You have to just wake up every day and just make a decision that you're going to be better today. And also, this is one of the things I want to say to women, especially Black women. When your body and your mind feels like it needs to rest, rest, rest. If you can take the time to rest and recharge and rejuvenate, do it, sis, do it. One of the things that we don't do, we think we got to grind all the time, and we don't. We don't. It is, you got to sit down and regenerate and get yourself together so that you can go and fight again. If that means taking a day off and Netflix binge or whatever it is, you really have to do that and make that next day your January 1st, right? You have to understand that we've been indoctrinated to think that we have to work like we in the cotton fields, and we don't have to do that.
I just love your humor. It's so
you
good.
know, well, I mean, we just really we have to remember that we don't have to be those people. That we have a
Yeah.
lot going for us, and we have to fight, and we have to also remember that what's for you is yours, not to hate on another woman. I see a lot of hate. Don't haterate. Please don't do that. Don't do it. There's enough out here for everybody. Okay.
Mm.
So yeah.
Well, let me say two things as we come down the home stretch. One, let me first say, for those folks that are listening, they probably want to know: are you taking on any new clients? And if so, what type
Mm-hmm.
of clients do you work with? And number
Mm-hmm.
two, how can they best stay in contact with you over and beyond the conversation you and I are having?
Mm-hmm. So our website is awomanup.com, and we're putting a new website up. So the one you see now is good enough. It talks about some of the courses and stuff that we do. And my email address is Traci, Traci at awomanup.com. Hit me up. I do public speaking. I can come in and do workshops. I do retreats for people, to talk about, the various issues that women are having to deal with, having run staffing and sales companies. If you need some talk about, how to start, how to sell, how to whatever, and definitely when it comes to understanding how to assess your value, that's huge. And to kind of level up when it comes to whatever you're doing, whether you're W-2 or 1099 or whatever your situation is. So awomanup.com and Traci at awomanup.com, Traci. And I'm always open to new opportunities. So any company it needs any kind of training from a professional development standpoint, from diversity to amplifying women to, dealing with those kinds of issues. And then also individuals. We also do individual classes too. So we have one that's coming up October the 25th, and it's called Focus on Focusing. So
I like that.
it's going to be a great one because I've put this huge workbook together that is going to be awesome, and people can have it, buy it whether they take the course or not. But that's a big thing. We're distracted by so much stuff. Like, I took Facebook and Instagram off my phone because I was like, I can't take it no more. So,
Understand.
yeah. So yeah, I would love to hear from anybody, partnerships. I'm working with Department of Employment Services now with another company. So I do, I can be a subcontractor. We can use my past performance on anything that you're interested in doing. So yeah, give me a holler. Be my pleasure.
Well, let me first say thank you so much for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. And let me say thank you to the viewers. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here every night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Without you, There is no show. If you got value out the show, and there's been a lot of value, please pay this message forward. Forward on to someone else. Connect with us over on YouTube. I never get tired. Every night, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You know, I love to share these words because I always want to hear them. And that is that you are amazing, that you're really awesome. You've got so much greatness buried deep, deep, deep down inside you. And that for you, today, in fact, is your January 1st. And because of just that one reason alone, I believe your best is still yet to come. Your best is yet to come. Your best is still yet to come. With that being said, my name, by the way, is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. And I promise you, from the bottom of my heart, we'll make some good things happen. We connect again next time. God bless, and we wish you success. Talk to you later, Tracy. See you around DC. Peace.
All right.